Okay, so now we are going to start with the pediatrics. In pediatrics, usually you have to do the immunization, very important, and then a growth and development. Okay, so starting part, let's do quickly. I will let you know. So here, if you want to read, it's good for daily life, but if you don't want to read, it's not that crazy important that you need to know. Just for your idea, the pulse is high in the kids, and then slowly, the moment they start increasing, like raising, like getting bigger, so their pulse start getting low, and then respiratory start getting low as well. But when it comes to BP, before at the time of the birth is low, and then later on it start getting big high. Then this one is basically normal temperature ranges. So in the temperature, usually the most accurate one is the rectal one. Then other one is ear, oral, and then axillary one. Temperature measurement is basically the rectal one is the most accurate one. Then a normal history, the binds. The history point of view is important for NACOSC. If you have time, you can read it from here. That's why I said whenever you are going for a QE1, I would suggest after 3 months, maybe give an attempt for the NACOSC 2 if you wanted to. Then comes the adverse reaction associated with any vaccine. What could be that one? Local, systemic, and allergic. Mainly there is fever. But at the point tenderness where he got the injection, redness and swelling could be there. Contraindication is moderate, severe illness, or any fever or any allergy to that. Okay. Now coming to the routine examination, immunization, all you need to know is 2, 4, 6, and 12 month. After that, 15 and 18, if you could remember, it's good. If not, at least 2, 4, 6, and 12, you need to remember. Why? Because they are common for all of them. Sorry, common for like all of the provinces. Then what are for the 2 months? 2 month is basically the rotavirus we give. Then what else we'd give? Pneumococcal and DTaP, IPV, HIV, that one. Then for 4 month you give same ones. Then for the 6 month you give for the rotavirus and DTaP, but not the pneumococcal one. Then for 12 month you give the pneumococcal one and then meningococcal as well. So 2, 4, 6, you can make an idea what you have to give. Then comes the 15 month. Usually we start with MMR. We even with the 12 month we do start MMR, but some people do like to start with 15 months. So that's what I said, up to 12 months you need to remember, but after 15 you can keep that in your mind that it's MMRV, because those are live attenuated and do causes a lot of fever, so people wanted to go after like 18 month. Then 18 month is again DTaP and then MMRV, so in that one we give varicella separately. 4 to 6 years is basically Tdap, the tetanus one that starts with the 4 to 6 month. Then you need to know in schools they give Gardasil. That's one what they get in the school. So that's how they got HPV1. Okay. Even the tetanus one is given in the school as well. Now, in this one, what you need to do is the contraindication. That's very, very important, especially which one the rotavirus cannot be given in patient who have intussusception or Meckel's diverticulum or immunocompromised. Obviously, immunocompromised for every live attenuated one, but intussusception and Meckel diverticulum for rotavirus. Then comes the DTaP, that is for the hypotonic or hypertonic, because the tetanus can be linked with that one. Then MMRV, all the live attenuated is not given in pregnancy, but can be given after pregnancy. Then immunocompromised anaphylactic reaction could be there. Along with that, influenza vaccine is basically less than 6 months. It's contraindicated immuno. So this is the new thing they added for the influenza. Egg allergies, individuals, live attenuated influenza vaccines is not recommended. So always think of this one, like, wherever there is immunocompromised, live attenuated is not used. Even with the pregnancy, live attenuated is not used. Um, then on this one here, this one, the side effects, adverse effects, mainly the measles, mumps, rubella. Measles can cause measles-like rash, lymphadenopathy, arthralgia, arthritis, and even parotitis, along with thrombocytopenia could be there. And in the DTaP, it causes seizure. It's very rare, or it causes seizure. And prolonged crying is one of the very common with every kind of vaccine, but Tdap is something they do come along with. Okay, so that's why just see the most important ones that can be asked in the MCQs. Otherwise, you are good. Then the modification, okay, so they says they do some modification about HPV vaccines. And let's suppose if someone missed their vaccine, in that case, you can give the vaccine that was supposed to be like, let's suppose if a child came for the first time at 15 month, how you're going to do the immunization. So give the 15-month vaccine now and schedule the patient after 1 month, 2 month, and 6 month to cover up the doses or the booster for whatever the medicine or the vaccines they need. So that's how it works. It can be asked in MCQs like how are you going to approach that case? And whenever a parent come, although they mention in the scenario that last time you did mention about the vaccine, parents were reluctant to do it, but you still have to mention about vaccine again. Okay, so even in QE1, NACOSKI, in the scenario, they say, oh, last time we did discuss about immunization unless they say this time in this visit you already discussed. If not, then you are the one that you have to discuss the immunization again in every visit, like how you discuss smoking in every visit. Immunization of immunocompromised patients. So you are going to check for the infection and vaccines, all of that. And then live attenuated vaccines, this fourth one, avoid to severely immunocompromised, can be given to those with isolated IgA, IgG subclass or the complement level. Live viral vaccines are okay for most children. Then this says this one, the additional vaccine may need the vaccine that are not usually recommended for otherwise healthy children. Then how you're going to approach the vaccine hesitant parents? This is mainly an ethical scenario asked in emergency or in NACOSKI. It's a very important station of NACOSKI where they want you to approach a father who is sitting there and not interested in a vaccine. So how you're going to counsel? So you need to see talking about vaccine, their importance, their side effects, their opinion about the vaccine. What do you they think? Have they gotten the vaccine in their childhood? What do they think about it? Okay. Then you can see which one is gone at which level. Usually the Babinski one is like upgoing plantar reflex is normal in the children's up to 2 years. So after 2 years. So mainly all of these reflexes should go away by 4 to 6 months. If they are not going away, it means it could be cerebral palsy. Simple. This side thing. Primitive reflexes responses are normal if absent during neonatal period, asymmetrical or persistent after 4 to 6 months. That's what it is. Tendon reflexes response is asymmetrical, suggested of focal motor lesions like having any brachial plexus injury or any cervical injury. And absence or the hyperreflex may suggestive of the CNS abnormality. Then you can see what is mororeflex, what is gland reflex, and at which age they need to do go away. Now, what comes to this one? So usually how I memorize is basically a newborn is someone who has bonding with the parents. Okay. So they like to do is basically mororeflex, like hold their hand. When it comes to 2 months, they start picking up their head. First, newborn, hold hand. 2 month, pick up their head. When they do pick up their head, they do social smile, make voices and all that. 4 month, now they are able to turn around or prone or supine, like they are able to turn around. Okay. When it comes to 6 month, they are now tripod sit and rolls both ways. Okay. And then they are making pebble sound, sad and happy. So if you remember, like that's how I memorize because it's kind of difficult. So I remember the newborn, then I remember the 4 month. So I thought whatever comes in the middle, that's basically 2 month. Okay. So let's suppose if this says about laughs and squeals or that is basically at 4 month. So if someone is cooing, turns to voice or making voices, that's basically 2 month. And I only memorize the most important ones that help me that this is basically 6 month. Okay, so they usually give you the most important one. They don't give you very very unusual ones. So as you can see here, if they talk about 6 month, they will give you a scenario of stranger anxiety and tripod sit. Sitting is one of the things they do mention along with the stranger anxiety. Then if they're talking about 9 month, they would talk about pincer grab. That's more important. And a separation anxiety. Then if they're talking about 12 month, they will talk about walking and one word with meaning, like mama, baba, dada, whatever it is. If they're talking about 15 month, they will surely mention about 4 to 5 words. Along with that, able walk without sport. Usually they don't like to test something which is between something specific achievement. Like talking about, if they're talking about 18 month where there's running, they would surely like to touch 18 month more than 15 month. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, but you never know, you could be the lucky one. So parallel play and all that. 24 months usually jump. 3 month they start with the tricycle. 4 month they go on hop, and 5 month they go for bike riding. Okay, so that's how I kind of memorize, like starting making sense what could be between them and then how does it work. And only knowing the basic one is more than enough. You don't have to know every single, each and every word of it. Uh, then when in this nutrition part, you need to know at which age they do start feeding. So solid introduction is introduction of the food is basically after more than 6 months. That's when they start giving. Early introduction of highly allergen food is recommended, like honey, peanuts, all of that one. These are the common ones. Offer lumpy and soft food. Then 9 to 24 month, yes, this is important. When are you going to give the cow milk? Because cow milk diarrhea is one of the very important or very common one. So 9 to 24 month, switch to homogenized milk. Offer for 16 hours, and then offer fruits, vegetables. Avoid to food to avoid, that is basically honey. Add the sugar and salt, excessive milk. Limit juices 2 to 6 is basically 2% milk. So you need to know how much milk you are going to introduce at which age. So 9 to 24 is 3.525 homogenized milk, but 2 to 6 is basically 2% milk. So you cannot give 2% milk to 9 to 24. Then the breastfeeding, causes of the breastfeeding, the advantages is very important, and then the contraindications. Mainly the advantages is it helps with the diarrhea, it helps with the respiratory infection, otitis media. They do like to ask all of them because if you are not aware, how will you educate the mother? So what are the medications? It's kind of, sometimes they say a mother is taking diazepam, so now she's here to ask about the counseling that she's going to do the breastfeeding. If you don't know which medicines can go through milk, so you will be not able to tell. And the most important are these ones: diazepam, metronidazole, tetracycline, lithium cyclophosphamide, and the golds, because these are the ones that are taken on the daily basis, on the very like daily life. Then the maternal contraindication is the HIV, HTLV. Those are the main important, and infant lactosemia. Okay, so here is something. So type of nutrition you have to give at what time. So usually this one, when are you going to give which milk to galactosemia? Like they can ask you a scenario where they give you an option that the child has galactosemia. Now, what would you like to recommend to the mother? So if you don't know what to give in that type, you will not be able to answer. So they're talking about if it comes to prematurity, what is the milk? The cow milk based, transition to breastfeeding, and contraindication to breastfeeding. So in those cases, go for cow milk base. If the patient is baby is low birth weight, in that cases you can give the fortified formula. Usually we go for fortified, not for the cow milk. Then the galactosemia, in that case, is going for soya protein, where the patient or the mother wants the baby to have a vegan diet, or the mother is having vegan diet. Indicate then if there's a delayed gastric emptying, in those ones the hydrolyzed protein, malabsorption, the protein hydrolysate, food allergy, in that one same. Then food allergy, you can give amino acid, and then inborn errors of the metabolism is metabolic. This is important. You don't need to know the content, you just need to know the indications and which type of nutrition will be given in which kind of condition. It is important. Okay. Then you can read the side one, the adequate intake. Why? Because of the dehydration status. And they can give you a scenario if the child is dehydrated or not. They can give you a scenario by saying that he has brown, either green or yellow stool in the first day 3 and 4. If you don't know the brown is normal in the first 2 3 days, you will be thinking of some maybe Meckel's diverticulum or something like that. Then injury preventing counseling. In the injury preventing, this is important. We are just give it a read. You don't have to memorize anything. Reading is important here, especially in the starting part. Injuries are the leading cause of the death in the children more than 1 year. So they do ask about the age factor. So injury prevention counseling, how are you going to do that? So maybe they can ask you, a mother came to you, child is just born, and they are asking about how to prevent from any injury. So you have to maybe tell them what are those ones. Do not leave the bed alone, keep the crib rails, check the water temperature, do not hold hot temperature liquid, check for the milk temperature, car seats should be there, avoid co-sleeping. 6 to 12 is basically where they start walking. Now the stairs is important, use walkers. Like you, if you have an idea, that's why we discuss the growth one. If you have an idea, then you can talk about this one. Then 1 to 2 years, now they start running and maybe bicycling and all that. So you never leave it unattended. Keep the pot handles away. Use the whole grapes. So because they can do choking. No running while eating, and then car seats. 2 to 5 is basically where they do the bike and all that. So bike riding, bike helmet, swimming, sunscreen, car seats, and ensure the enlarged TVs are away. Then the circumcision complication is important. What are the complications? Local infection, bleeding, urethral injury, meatal stenosis could be there. Breath holding spells, again, how you are going to do a management. So there are two type of them, cyanotic and then palate. Cyanotic is more important. Why? Because the child is provoked by this one and they hold the breath. If the child is frightened, then that's a pallid one. Usually the cyanotic ones is the one that's mainly asked. Usually it is all spontaneously then it's when does, because they can ask you what is the remission, and almost by 8 years it just resolve. Helps child control themselves from frustration, and always we are talking about breath holding spell, check their iron deficiency. So they can ask you what would you like to assess in this child. So iron deficiency, if the episodes prolong, frequent, non-traumatic stimulants, if there is a family history, in those cases you have to check for the heart disease. Crying and fussing spell. So in those one is basically you have to check for what's going on, functional colic and all that. So history is important. Then infantile colic, how you do the management, that's more important. The management is parental relief, rest, and reassurance. Check the breast change, the breastfeeding, hold baby and soothe, car ride, music, vacuum, check diapers. Probiotics is something that you can start breastfed for infants, like checking for the trial of an hypoallergenic maternal feed diet. Then formula feed is there, like mainly the hydrolyzed formula, and then it's basically all resolved by within 3 to 6 months. In the dentition and caries, all you need to know is how often you have to do the checkup. So it's mainly after every year or within 6 months if there is dental caries. Then comes the enuresis. In enuresis, the most important is when is you going to start the treatment. Treatment of the primary nocturnal enuresis should not be considered until 7 years due to high rate of spontaneous cure. Then always think of UTI. Then make sure that they don't have UTI. Then you can go for other things. Time, reassurance, avoidance of punishment, humiliation. Then the behavior modification, conditional bedwetting. Then medications. What are the bed medications? The short line is basically short-term acting, the desmopressin. But you need to remember what are the side effects of desmopressin before giving them. So they can ask you that one. In the secondary, always think about constipation. That's one of the very common one, and then children do that. So in this one is that comes after once he had controlled the bladder. Diurnal is only at the night time. So in that one, always think of behavior, or if they have night terrors, nightmares. So in those cases, is important. Then the encopresis in this one is basically the constipation is one of the main thing. So in this one, you have to make sure that the child use the bathroom, but he has a regular maintenance and he does not run around. Usually they go for the bathroom, but they have to watch the TV, so they control their bathroom for a long period of time. That's how they develop it. So you have to check for that one. And one of the most common complication is toxic megacolon. Please do check how does a toxic megacolon X-ray look like. And that can also cause the bowel perforation. Toilet training, signs of the toilet red illness is basically 18 to 24 months. Failure to thrive, it's mainly with the diarrhea, with the loose motion, or with the vomiting, or in the areas like reservoirs, like where the food is not enough available or the parents are neglected. So in those cases, it's very common. Inadequate caloric intake. So what are the clinical signs? So you can read the sidebar. Subcutaneous fat loss, muscle atrophy, alopecia, lethargy, lagging, kwashiorkor, infection, and dermatitis. So you can see what could be the upper to lower segment ratio. If it's increased, then what happens? Hypothyroidism, short limb achondroplasia. If decreased, then what could be there? Marfan's, Klinefelter, Kalman's, then upper extremity segment, top of the head to pubic symphysis, and the lower is basically from pubic symphysis to down. In this one, we check for everything, especially the electrolytes and thyroid, and make sure to check out the celiac disease as well. This is one of the most important table 12. It helps you to make the diagnosis in a lot of scenarios. So if the only the weight is decreased, but height is normal and head circumference is normal, they do ask this question. What could be the suggestive problem? Maybe the caloric insufficiency or the decrease in intake. If there is weight and height both are decreased, but head circumference is normal, in that one is structural dystrophies and endocrine disorder. But if there is weight, height, head circumference, all of them are decreased. So in that case, is intrauterine insult. Then you have to check for the child-parent relationship. As I said, there might be neglection is there, interaction, their hungers and poverty and all that. What is the management? You have to check for the psychosocial, primary care, maybe need for the financial aid, psychologist, CAS. You have to involve the CAS. Then medical is oromotor, iron deficiency, gastroesophageal reflux, and nutrition. You have to check for the calorie boosting, meal time schedules, goal to reach 90 to 110% of the body weight, and promote catch up of the growth. Then comes the behavior, positive reinforcement, mealtime enforcement, and then no distraction like during mealtime. In obesity, as I already discussed, always rule out depression, especially in children. It's very, very common. So then you can see from here what is their intake, how much they're eating, and all this one. So bullying is one of the important, as I said, bullying, low self-esteem, unhealthy coping mechanism. So depression is very, very important. Always keep that in your mind. Encouragement and reassurance. Diet is basically qualitative changes, special diets by the adults. So involve them in the daily activities, healthy activities, limit their sugar intake, juices, adequate sleep should be there, education should be there, like dietitian counseling. Then surgery could be involved, increased physical activity, small changes in energy expenditure, and then intake. What is the poison prevention? So you have to take care of the bottles and all that so they don't get into that one. Now comes the rashes. When you're talking about pediatric rashes, the most important is how does they look like? Okay. They are going to, sometimes they do share the picture, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they only talk about appearance. Okay. So when we are talking about this shiny red macules, patches, and no skin fold involvement, this is basically irritant. But when the skin folds are involved, this is fungal. Fungal goes inside the fold, but if the fold is not involved, that's basically dermatitis. And then when comes the seborrheic one, seborrheic looks like impetigo because it has yellow, greasy macules. But when it comes to dermatitis, there is always some irritants there that helps or how it started. Like any soap or anything that was there that initiated something that's not there that is continuously using it, but it's some initiative was there. Management is basically eliminate the direct contact with the urine and feces. That is basically the dermatitis. Allow periods of the rest without a diaper, diaper rash, and zinc oxide is one of the most common ones, and corticosteroids. In seborrheic one, moisturizers, antifungals can be used, and steroids. Then comes the candida in that one clotrimazole. A topic